Shakespeare lover, and welcome to today's edition of Romeo and Juliet. Today we're going to be diving into Act 3, Scene 1. This is really a huge turning point in the story. Where we left our characters, we had Romeo and Juliet getting married in a secret ceremony performed by the friar. At this point, no one knows about their secret marriage other than the fact that Romeo obviously knows, Juliet obviously knows, the friar performed the ceremony, and the nurse who helped arrange it, okay? All the other characters, including their families and friends, are totally in the dark, okay? And what we're going to get to see here is how things are going to end up becoming a tragedy for Romeo and Juliet, okay? We are now at a scene set in the late afternoon, right after the wedding. We are going to see Mercutio and Benvolio start us off. They are out in the streets talking, and, well, some other characters are going to show up. So follow along, read the text, and remember the modern text is next to it in case you need any help understanding it. If you have any questions, let me know. I will respond, and this will be great. Okay, here we go. Enter Mercutio, Benvolio, Mercutio's page, and others. I pray thee, good Mercutio, let's retire. The day is hot, the Capulets abroad, and if we meet, we shall not scape a brawl. For now, these hot days is the mad blood stirring. Thou art like one of those fellows that when he enters the confines of a tavern, claps me his sword upon the table and says, God send me no need of thee, and by the operation of the second cup, draws it on the drawer when indeed there is no need. Am I like such a fellow? Come, come, thou art as hot as a jack in thy mood as any in Italy, and as soon moved to be moody, and as soon moody to be moved. And what too? Nay, and there were two such. We should have none shortly, for one would kill the other. Thou, why, thou wilt quarrel with a man that hath a hair more or a hair less in his beard than thou hast. Thou wilt quarrel with a man for cracking nuts, having no other reason but because thou hast hazel eyes. What eye but such an eye would spy out such a quarrel? Thy head is as full of quarrels as an egg is full of meat, and yet thy head hath been beaten as addle as an egg for quarreling. Thou hast quarrelled with a man for coughing in the street because he hath wakened thy dog that hath lain asleep in the sun. Didst thou not fall out with the tailor for wearing his new doublet before Easter? With another for tying his new shoes with old ribbon? And yet thou wilt tutor me for quarreling. And I were so apt to quarrel as thou art. Any man should buy the fee simple of my life for an hour and a quarter. The fee? Simple? Oh, simple. Enter Tybalt, Petruchio, and other Capulets. By my head, here come the Capulets. By my heel, I care not. Follow me close, for I will speak to them. Gentlemen, get in. A word with one of you. And but one word with one of us, couple with something, make it a word and a blow. You shall find me apt enough to that, sir, and you will give me occasion. Could you not take some occasion without giving? Mercutio, thou consortest with Romeo. Consort? What? Dost thou make us minstrels? And thou make minstrels of us. Look to hear nothing but discords. Here's my fiddlestick. Here's that shall make you dance. Zounds, consort. We talk here in the public haunt of men. Either withdraw unto some private place and reason coldly of your grievances, or else depart. Here all eyes gaze on us. Men's eyes were made to look, and let them gaze. I will not budge for no man's pleasure, I. Enter Romeo. Well, peace be with you. Here comes my man. But I'll be hanged, sir. If you wear your livery, marry, go before to field. He'll be your follower. Your worship in that sense may call him man. Romeo, the love I bear thee can afford no better term than this. Thou art a villain. Tybalt, The reason that I have to love thee doth much excuse the appertaining rage to such a greeting. Villain am I none, therefore farewell. I see thou knowest me not.
Boy, this shall not excuse the injuries that thou hast done me. Therefore turn and draw.
I do protest, I never injured thee, but I love thee better than thou canst devise, till thou shalt know the reason of my love. And so, good Capulet, which name I tender as dearly as mine own, be satisfied.
Oh, calm, dishonorable, vile submission?
Alice Stoccata carries it away.
Tybalt, you rat-catcher, will you walk? What wouldst thou have with me?
Good king of cats, nothing but one of your 9 lives, that'll mean to make bold withal, and as you shall use me hereafter, dry beat the rest of the 8. Will you pluck your sword out of its pilcher by the ears? Make haste, lest mine be about your ears ere it be out.
I am for you.
Gentle Mercutio, put thy rapier up. Come, sir, you're passato. Mercutio and Tybalt fight. Romeo draws his sword. Draw, Benvolio, beat down their weapons. Gentlemen, for shame, forbear this outrage. Tybalt, Mercutio, the prince expressly hath forbidden bandying in Verona streets. Hold, Tybalt, good Mercutio. Romeo tries to break up the fight. Tybalt stabs Mercutio under Romeo's arm. Away, Tybalt! Exeunt Tybalt, Petruchio, and the other Capulets.
I am hurt. A plague of both your houses. I am sped. Is he gone and hath nothing?
What? Art thou hurt?
I, a scratch. Mary, 'tis enough. Where is my page? Go, villain, fetch a surgeon.
Exit Mercutio's page. Courage, man. The hurt cannot be much.
No, 'tis not so deep as well, nor so wide as a church door, but 'tis enough. 'Twill serve. Ask for me tomorrow, and you shall find me a grave man. I am peppered. I warrant for this world a plague of both your houses. Zounds, a dog, a rat, a mouse, a cat to scratch, a man to death, a braggart, a rogue, a villain that fights by the book of arithmetic. Why the devil came you between us? I was hurt under your arm.
I thought all for the best.
Help me into some house, Benvolio, or I shall faint. A plague on both your houses. They have made worms meat of me. I have it, and soundly too. Your houses.
Exeunt Mercutio and Benvolio. This gentleman, the prince's near ally, my very friend, hath got his mortal hurt in my behalf? My reputation stained with Tybalt's slander? Tybalt, that an hour hath been my kinsman? O sweet Juliet, thy beauty hath made me effeminate, and in my temper softened valor's steel. Enter Benvolio. O Romeo, Romeo, brave Mercutio is dead. That gallant spirit hath aspired the clouds, which too untimely here did scorn the earth. This day's black fate on more days doth depend. This but begins the woe others must end. Enter Tybalt. Here comes the furious Tybalt back again. Alive in triumph, and Mercutio slain? Away to heaven, respective lenity, and fire-eyed fury be my conduct now? Now, Tybalt, take the villain back again. that late thou givest me. For Mercutio's soul is but a little way above our heads, staying for thine to keep him company. Either thou, or I, or both must go with him. Thou wretched boy, that did consort him here, shalt with him hence. This shall determine that. They fight. Tybalt falls. But Benvolio says, Romeo, away, begone. The citizens are up, and Tybalt slain. Stand not amazed. The prince will doom thee death if thou art taken. Hence, begone, away. Oh, I am fortune's fool. Why dost thou stay? Exit Romeo. Enter citizens of the watch. Which way ran he that killed Mercutio? Tybalt, that murderer. Which way ran he? There lies Tybalt. Up, sir, go with me. I charge thee in the prince's name. Obey. Enter Prince Montague, Capulet, Lady Montague, Lady Capulet, and others. Where are the vile beginners of this fray? O noble prince, I can discover all. The unlucky manage of this fatal brawl. There lies the man, slain by young Romeo, that slew thy kinsman, brave Mercutio. Tybalt, my cousin, my brother's child. O prince, O cousin, husband, oh, the blood is spilled of my dear kinsman. Prince, as thou art true, for blood of ours shed blood of Montague. O cousin, cousin. Benvolio, who began this bloody fray? Tybalt, here slain, whom Romeo's hand did slay. Romeo, that spoke him fair, bade him bethink how nice the quarrel was, and urged withal your high displeasure. All this uttered with gentle breath. Come, look, knees humbly bowed, could not take truce with the unruly spleen of Tybalt's death to peace, but that he tilts with piercing steel at bold Mercutio's breast, who, all is hot, turns deadly point to point, and, with a martial scorn, with one hand beats cold death aside, with the other sends it back to Tybalt, whose dexterity retorts it. Romeo, he cries aloud, Hold, friends! Friends, part! And swifter than his tongue, his agile arm beats down their fatal points, and twixt them rushes, underneath whose arm an envious thrust from Tybalt hit the life of stout Mercutio, and then Tybalt fled. But by and by comes back to Romeo, who had but newly entertained revenge, and to it they go like lightning, for ere I could draw to part them was stout Tybalt slain, and as he fell did Romeo turn and fly. This is the truth, or let Benvolio die. He is a kinsman to the Montague. Affection makes him false. He speaks not true. Some 20 of them fought in this black strife, and all those 20 could but kill one life. I beg for justice, which thou, prince, must give. Romeo slew Tybalt. Romeo must not live. Romeo slew him. He slew Mercutio, who now the price of his dear blood doth owe. Not Romeo. Prince, he was Mercutio's friend, and his fault concludes what the law should end, the life of Tybalt. And for that offense, immediately we do exile him hence. I have an interest in your heart's proceeding. My blood for your rude brawls doth lie a-bleeding. But I'll mercy with so strong a fine that you shall all repent the loss of mine. I will be deaf to pleading and excuses, nor tears nor prayers shall purchase out abuses. Therefore use none. Let Romeo hence in haste, else when he's found, that hour will be his last. Bear hence his body and attend our will. Mercy but murders, pardoning those that kill. Exit. All right. Very cool. Thanks for sticking with me through Act 3, Scene 1. I think it'd be foolish now if we didn't talk about this a little bit more. We'll kind of go through page by page, and I'll give you the breakdown. You can tell me your thoughts if you want to. And let's see what's going on here. All right. So at the very beginning, we have, of course, we have Mercutio, Benvolio, and basically the Montague crew hanging out. And an ominous start, some foreshadowing perhaps. Benvolio thinks they should get out of there. First of all, it's hot. Second of all, there's a lot of Capulets around. And with how hot it is and the feud, if they meet, they're going to end up fighting. He just knows that. And he remembers, of course, from Act 1, Scene 1, that if they're fighting in public, the prince is going to execute them. So he doesn't want any trouble. Remember, again, Benvolio is the big peacekeeper in this story. All right? Mercutio, remember, he is a relative of the prince and Romeo's good buddy. He's not too worried about it. He just likes to have fun and tell jokes and that kind of thing. So he just kind of poking fun at Benvolio here, who's the big peaceful one. And he's like, oh, yeah, you want to escape the brawl? That's weird because you always want to fight. Again, he's kind of joking, making fun of Benvolio, as friends tend to do sometimes, just kind of ribbing each other, having some jokes at each other's expense. Oh, you're like one of those guys who shows up in the tavern with his sword and says, oh, I hope I never have to use this. Pretty soon, you're fighting for no reason at all. I was like, really? Oh, yeah, you're always willing to fight. You'll fight with anyone for anyone. Like if he has a beard with more or less hairs than you have, if someone is cracking nuts because your eyes are hazel, really any reason at all, you're always wanting to quarrel. We, the reader, know that this is just kind of funny. He's not like that at all. He's actually quite peaceful. But then here comes the one who actually really does always want to fight. Your boy Tybalt, Juliet's cousin. All right, so Tybalt's here. And remember, he is still very upset about the fact that Romeo and his friends crashed the party at the Capulets. He wanted to fight him right there on the spot, but Lord Capulet wouldn't let him. So instead, he's challenged Romeo to a duel, and now he's out looking for him. Yo, where's Romeo? Oh, there are some of his boys. I'm going to go check in with them. Hey, guys, where's Romeo at? You guys consort with Romeo. You guys are Romeo's friends. Mercutio kind of joking around. Oh, yeah, well, you want to look for him? I don't know where he is. Okay, some puns here talking about consorting. Oh, you mean like we're minstrels? Like we sing together? You think we're just musicians in a band? Well, hey, guess what? You like music? Here's my fiddlestick. And he pulls out his sword, basically kind of taunting him. Okay, Benvolio, one more time, is begging for peace. He says, guys, we're out in public. This is no place to be fighting, all right? You either need to withdraw to somewhere private or just don't fight at all. Because like, you guys need to be rational. You guys need to stay calm. You're in public. Stop this madness. Maybe it would have worked, but probably not, because here comes Romeo. All right, now Romeo's come, and again, a lot of dramatic irony. You might notice I keep saying that, but it's true. This play is full of it. Okay, we as the audience know that Romeo is now Juliet's cousin. No, that's not right. We know that he is Juliet's husband, and Tybalt is Juliet's cousin. So ipso facto, Tybalt and Romeo are now related through this marriage. So Tybalt wants to kill Romeo. Romeo doesn't want anything to do with that fight. What, you're going to kill your wife's cousin the day you got married? That would be really bad for the honeymoon. Okay, that would not go well. Don't do that. So Mercutio says, or not Mercutio, my apologies. Tybalt says, hey, Romeo, I'm calling you out. And guess what? Thou art a villain. Whoa. Those are fighting words. I mean, yikes. I don't know what the modern day equivalent would be, but well, we all know what villain is, but what's something that would be so insulting that it would immediately want to make you fight someone? I'm not quite sure. I try to avoid fights, but Tybalt wants to start one, so he calls him a villain. Romeo, in a move that makes no sense to these people because they don't understand that he's married to Juliet. They don't even know that he met Juliet, okay? But he ends up saying, "Oh, Tybalt, I promise I'm not a villain. There is a reason that I'm not a villain to you, but I can't tell you what that is. I have a reason to love you." I mean, imagine that. Imagine you're out with your friends and someone basically challenges you to a fight, and instead of saying, like, no thanks or hey, back off, you just respond by saying, "Actually, I have a reason to love you, but I can't tell you what that is. So farewell." I mean, it's nice that he doesn't want to fight. In fact, he goes on to insist, "Guess, Tybalt, I promise I never injured thee. I love you more than you can understand. And until I can tell you the reason, I can't tell you why, but until then, just know that I hold your name tender. I love all the Capulets. I can't tell you why." And he's going to just leave. So Mercutio sees this, and unaware of this new relationship with Juliet, he thinks Romeo is just being a total coward, a huge wuss. Oh my gosh, he can't stand it. What? Romeo's so dishonorable. What a vile submission. Yikes. Okay, I guess I'll stand up for Romeo. I guess I will fight. And he says, "Tybalt, you rat catcher, will you walk? Tybalt, you want to fight someone? Fight me." He threatens him. "Okay, what, Tybalt, what do you want?" "Guess what? I want one of your 9 lives, king of cats. I'm going to take you and beat you down." And they're fighting. And, Tybalt draws his sword. Mercutio already has his sword out. "Come, give me your passado." They're fighting. They're sword fighting. Romeo is trying to get them to stop. Okay? And this is important. When Romeo draws his sword and asks Benvolio to help stop the fight, he's between them. He's getting them to try to stop, and he's like, "Guys, stop." And then as Romeo gets in between them, Tybalt goes under Romeo's arm and gets Mercutio right in the chest, right under the arm. And depending on which version you watch, which performance, sometimes they make it seem as though Romeo got in the way and ended up being the total cause of this. And make it seem as though Tybalt wasn't even trying to stab Mercutio. It was just an accident. Sometimes you watch it, a different version, and Tybalt is trying to kill Mercutio, but the only reason he succeeds is because Romeo got in the way. Either way, we can totally put the blame here on Romeo getting in between them. Also, he started the fight. So Mercutio is now dying. He says this repeatedly, "A plague on both your houses." Basically, he's acknowledging the fact that he's dying because of this family feud between the houses, and he's mad about it. He's like, "Curse your houses. I want a plague on your houses. Like, this feud is killing me here." There's a lot of puns here about how he's dying. "Ask for me tomorrow, you'll find me a grave man." He's been made worms meat out of. He's definitely dying here. Romeo says, "I thought it was for the best to try to stop your fighting," when Mercutio asks Romeo why he got in the way, and he dies after cursing their houses. "A plague on both your houses." A very famous line from this part. Okay, so now Romeo basically is the cause of his buddy, Mercutio dying. Man, it was supposed to be me fighting Tybalt. Mercutio fought instead of me. I got in the way and caused Mercutio to get stabbed. All right, so he's feeling a ton of guilt now. He is dealing with all these emotions. You can imagine one of your best friends just dies. You feel totally responsible. And he says that, "Oh man, it's because of Juliet that made me not fight. And that's what caused all this. Her beauty made me effeminate. Her beauty made me weak. My relationship with hers made me not fight. So he's dealing with all this, and now he's going to challenge Tybalt to a fight. Okay, again, had he made some better decisions, not acted so quickly, obviously a tragedy has already happened, but fighting is only going to make things worse for him. So now, at this point, he didn't fight, so the prince isn't going to be mad at him. He didn't do anything to Tybalt, so everything's fine with the Capulet relationship. But now things go down the drain even more. Tragedy getting worse and worse. Okay, Tybalt says, Romeo says to Tybalt, "Hey, guess what? You just killed Mercutio. I'm very mad. Either you or I or both of us are going to go with him. Basically, I'm going to fight you to the death, and then whoever dies can go with Mercutio up to heaven." All right. So they fight, and powered by his rage, or maybe just good luck, whatever the case is, Romeo is somehow able to overcome Tybalt, who we know is a great fighter. So he does survive, but he's now murdered. He has killed Tybalt. So now he runs away. He realizes his mistake. Benvolio says, "You can't just stand there. The prince will doom thee to death. You got to get out of here." He realizes he's made a huge mistake. "Oh, I'm fortune's fool." And then he leaves. Then all the watchmen come. So basically like the cops, the citizens helping keep the peace. The prince comes. All the parents come. The prince asks Benvolio, who is trustworthy, what happened. Lady Capulet, who is Tybalt's aunt, is beside herself. She's lost one of her family members, and she's so sad and so mad at the Montagues. Benvolio here gives an accurate recap of what happened, how the fighting went down. One more time for you all following along. Mercutio was killed by Tybalt, and then Tybalt was killed by Romeo. All right. So Lady Capulet says, "You can't believe what Benvolio says. He's a Montague. Prince, you got to give justice here. You got to kill Romeo. Romeo slew Tybalt. Romeo must not live." And that could make sense. I mean, he was fighting. The prince did forbid fighting. He said, if you're fighting in public, you will be dead. But Montague points out, well, hey now, pump the brakes. He only did what the law should have ended, what the law should have done. Tybalt was fighting first, and he killed Mercutio. For that offense, Tybalt should have been put to death. All Romeo did was take matters into his own hands and make that happen. So the prince weighs all this, and he comes up with his decree. He says, "Immediately do we exile him hence." So he's not going to have Romeo killed. Instead, he's just banishing him from Verona. Basically, the prince says, "Romeo, if you come around Verona again, you will be put to death. I will execute you. But because you did get revenge for Mercutio, who is my family, I'm only going to exile you right now." But he's really upset. He's obviously very mad that they weren't listening to him about fighting. He's really mad that people have died. And he's especially mad because one of the people who died is Mercutio, his relative. So basically says, no matter what, I won't hear any of your prayers or excuses or pleas. This is the verdict. Romeo's banished. If he comes back, he'll be killed. If he stays away, he'll be spared. All right? And so now Act 3, Scene 1 is over. And now we have a million more questions. All right? How is Juliet going to think about Romeo now? What is she going to think about Romeo now that he has killed her cousin? Does this mean that they won't be able to tell their parents about their marriage because this recent murdering spree has reignited the feud? Or will they be able to just come clean and now everything will make sense? They'll understand why Romeo didn't want to fight and why he only responded after Mercutio was killed. Romeo's banished. Does that mean he will never see Juliet again? So many questions. So many new conflicts have been introduced. And this is really a huge turning point in the story. Like we talked about last time, if Act 2 would have just been the end, happy story. Unfortunately, that's not the way it went down. Just like in real life, there are consequences for your actions, and Romeo is about to see that. All right. Anyway, thanks for listening, and make sure you click subscribe so you can find out what happens in scene 2 of Act 3. All right. Anyway, have a great day. I'll see you later. Take care. And remember to not murder anyone in the street today with a sword. Okay? All right. Thanks. See you later, guys. Bye bye.